Hello and welcome back to the Hype Mind. Oh man, just caught a voice crack there. It must be this warm weather. I'm Bear and I'm here with Dan. And
Yep. And we're
hey,
talking today about how to love yourself.
yes,
Now, let's let's break it down here. Now, it might sound counterintuitive to everything you've been taught. Oh, we got to take care of others. We got to love others. And what happens is we just forget about ourselves.
right.
And a lot of the times, you might subconsciously, you might not even realize that you treat yourself like dirt and you elevate everybody else and forget about yourself. And let me tell you, it's not a good idea. It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to help you at all. It's going to be very counterproductive to your own growth. You have to be able to take care of yourself, love yourself, even be interested in yourself. And I'm going to say this out. This is going to piss people off, but I'm going to say it anyways. The world revolves around you. Now, probably haven't heard that before. You heard the opposite. The world doesn't revolve around you, but let me explain. You only have your own perspective on life. It revolves around your own realm. Yeah, there's other people around, but you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. Before you take care of anybody else, take care of yourself. And you need to fulfill all your needs before you go out and start helping other people.
Ooh, brings up a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you treat yourself kind of. Most people just overpass this. They avoid or they skip by this. They don't treat themselves. They don't care for themselves. They don't
They
love themselves.
understand what it means.
They're so distracted by external things. And this is kind of tricky because it's actually hidden in independent or dependence as well. You don't value yourself enough, so you look externally for value when it's all found in yourself. And this might sound wishy-washy in the beginning when we said love yourself, but really think of it as just caring for yourself. Just
And
like you're going to care for a tool in your garage, right? You're going to maintain it, sharpen it, make sure it's working
or
properly. Do that with yourself. You don't know
replace.
how many times I've just reminded myself to be kind to myself, and that just made all the difference. Just constantly beating myself up to perform.
I'm so glad you started where you started because when you first pitched that, I had a couple of thoughts. And the first is that this is a balance, right? Because this gets misunderstood, right? People are just we're not very good at this. I'm not very good at this, or wasn't.
Me neither.
Get
Yes,
get better. But here's the thing: is when Dan says the world revolves around you, right? You got to make sure you can distinguish things because it's a balance. It doesn't mean neglect everything else because you're the only important one. It doesn't mean become self.
absolutely.
It means make sure you take care of yourself properly. But how do you take care of yourself properly? You take care of yourself. That's the first thing. Is it starts with you. It doesn't mean others take care of you. It doesn't mean others are responsible for you. It means you are responsible for you, right? So because that's what I see a lot of is people say, "Oh, you need more self-love." And then they look for others to fill that self-love. And I think, "What? That's not my job. That's your job. You give love to yourself." Right? You fill your own glass. You don't ask others to do that. Not that others can't do that. They can, but don't misinterpret what Dan's saying because a lot of times we say, "Oh, we need the world does revolve around us. We need to focus on our self-love. We need to focus on us." You need to do that too. No, you do that, not others. That's your job. It's not your job to make others focus on you. It's your job to focus on you yourself. And so that gets lost
Hmm.
because like you said, there's this dependency that we don't even know about. And the minute we start to focus on ourselves, our dependency kicks in and says everybody else has to focus on me because I don't actually know how to focus on me.
Yes. Yep.
And I can tell you that that's been my experience. I've had a lot of different dependencies showed up in my life in a lot of different ways where I've been like, that I think I'm being dependent, and I'm not filling that hole in my own life myself. I'm looking for others to do it. That's not self love. Um, that's not that is selfish, right? That
Yeah.
is that
Well, there's a difference.
wrong.
And let me clarify this. There's a difference between selfishness, to be selfish, and self interested. Selfish is in regard to others. that has regard to others maybe lowering for you to elevate, but self-interested is all about you. It has nothing to do with demeaning anybody else's part to play in your life.
Or failing to play the part you said you'd play in theirs. A
Say
lot
that
of
one
people,
more time.
what I think happens a lot of times is you think out of self-love, I'm not going to do something I previously committed to, right? You need to make sure that you still are playing your role in life, whatever that is, right? You need to keep
Yeah.
your word, but
Oh yeah.
right,
Hmm.
and that's not to say that if you signed up for a party and then you realize that you really have worked hard this week and you just don't have time for this party, you really need a break, that you can't say no to it, right? But the excuse of, well, actually I just need the evening to myself because etc. So I'm going to blow other people off. That's that's not that's not what we're getting at either,
Yeah.
right?
What I found is
Those
that
boundaries
the more
look different.
the more you care about the more you love yourself, the more you can look out to help others genuinely. But
Yeah.
go back to what you're
Well, and
saying.
let's talk about this too, because I just read that book for the first time, very popular, The Five Love Languages, and the thought of applying that to myself, right? Because there's a couple important things that it didn't talk about, and the first of those is how you need to fill your own glass before you can overflow into other people's glasses. And everybody kind of knows that. They've all heard that before, but we're not really very good at it. I'm not very good at it. I'm getting better at it. So, my thought was, after reading that how do you can you and how do you apply those five love languages? So I mean, there's a number of ways that honestly Daniel's already talked about on how you can start to focus on yourself. And one of the things you said was um, self-interest, right? Great starting point. It starts right there, with being interested in yourself. But I like what I learned in that book just because it's very easy. It's very easy to say, this is my love language. This is what I'm going to give to myself, right? Because a lot of times we already know that. We already know that we love receiving gifts as our primary love language, or we love receiving physical touch as our primary love language. And so we can actually do those for ourselves. People don't have to do them for us, and we can feel loved. We can give ourselves, show ourselves our own, the love we need in our life.
Hmm. Yeah. And on top of that, it's also reconstructing just some of our thought patterns too.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
our thoughts,
You
just
should
from
all that.
usually just the experience of you have like growing up, are structured in a way that basically like bullies yourself
Right.
because you didn't accomplish something, or like something didn't work out in your favor, and it just doesn't help. Like you see this, you know this with teaching anybody. Like positive reinforcement is going to be the most efficient thing you can do to help somebody to go grow in the right direction. One more point I want to touch on about loving yourself helps you love other people more is because once you realize that you really genuinely care about yourself, you care about everything that's an extension of you.
I was gonna say
You,
you just
your family, yeah.
that
There,
energy.
you understand, you have sympathy for yourself as a human being, you have sympathy for other people as human beings because we're
Well,
connected in that way, and it helps you to connect
good
even
word.
better.
I like your use of the word sympathy, because once you start to show yourself sympathy and love, like you're saying, you then realize, hey, I need sympathy, I need love, I need mercy, I need to forgive myself, I need to treat myself with some love and respect. And then once you learn how to do that, you actually end up being like, dude, I need to do that for everybody. But on a very fundamental level, that's just the compound effect, right? What you do grows exponentially. What you think grows exponentially. What you act out grows exponentially. If you're always speaking poorly, it's only going to compound. It's only going to get worse. You're only going to do it more often. It's only going to bring worse and worse results to your life. So what you do good, whether it's changing the way you talk to yourself, show up for yourself, love yourself, whatever, that's going to compound too. And so, of course, eventually it compounds so much that it starts to overflow into other people's lives. And you're like, geez, how can I show love to this
Mm.
person? And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
on the
Yeah.
self-interest thing too, because I'll share a little story. Um, that was probably where I started. It was probably the easiest thing for me to understand when it came to um, loving myself, right? Because that's a tough question. You're like, well, how do I love myself? How do I do that? Um, and the self-interest is great because you can say, what do I like doing? What's important to me? What are my desires? What are my beliefs? And then you can start to build stuff up around those.
Hmm.
And a lot of times those are your love languages. So that's the other cool thing, is they'll show up elsewhere too. Because, like me, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I really want to spend more time hiking. So I'd spend more time hiking. And then that also, quality time being my love language, guess what? I'm spending quality time with myself when I'm going hiking, assuming I'm not letting something distract me that I don't want to. And so
Hmm. Yeah.
that's that easy.
And once you start being more intentional, you'll find ways to actually tangibly love yourself and implement that
Right.
in life. Yeah, but I mean, it's just, it at first seems so counterintuitive to probably everything you've been taught, but it's so freaking vital. And I just got to
Well,
say,
and
it
the
will be
clarity is
necessary.
important, to
Yeah.
say the world revolves around you. You have to make sure you understand it, and if you don't, you have to think about it, right? It comes down to you understanding the world revolves around you in a sense that you are responsible for yourself, but not that
Yes.
others are responsible for you.
Uh-huh.
Once you understand that, you're like, oh, the world does
Yeah.
revolve around. It starts with me. It starts with me, right?
Mhm.
Change, that common saying. Change starts with you. You're like, right. So that's a great example of it. Do you
Then,
have any tips
yeah.
on how to love yourself?
Anyway.
Any other tips on how to love yourself?
No, just basically reinforcing that, yeah, you just become, from that, you expand, and you not only start caring about other people, but caring about, like, your own attributes that you want to have
Right.
in your life. And it becomes, you start to live life from a place of desire rather than fear, and like depending on other people to fill that need for you. You want to, you don't feel like you need to be somebody of trust, but you want to be somebody who's trustworthy. You want to be somebody who's on time. This is the qualities you want for yourself because you deeply
Work on.
love yourself. You deeply want you to live a quality life, and you deeply want yourself, just to be a person who loves enormously to everybody around you.
Yeah. No, that's actually interesting you say that, because I think that you can do just that. And a lot of times I think the easiest way to start is through the things you're sure of. It's like, if you're
Yeah.
not sure where to start on how to love yourself, it's like, okay, what's important to you? Like I said, I knew I love spending time hiking, so I did that. I know my love language is quality time. So I can give myself quality time, and I can ask others to give me quality time, right? Indirectly, I can say, hey, are you free today? Right? Let's spend some time together. So I can set up myself for success in being able to meet my own needs in that sense. I like what someone said the other day, where they were like, oh, if your love language is physical touch, then you can go pursue handshakes from people. You can walk down the road and shake people's hands. You can fist bump people. You can give yourself a massage. You can go somewhere that will give you a massage, right? There's all sorts of ways to meet those love languages.
Mm, yeah.
So
I like what you're talking about because it's tangible. Like there's things you can do. And one quick thing I'll share is basically just reminding yourself to be kind to yourself. It's just that constant reminder to have that intention to be kind to yourself, and ask yourself in
yes,
different situations, how can I be kind to myself? What's funny is I think it's really funny, like we're, talking about this, because it like can sound like a little bit, I don't even know what to call it, but just out of the ordinary. But
it sounds a
once
little
you
goofy.
realize how vital it is, like you'll understand.
Well, and the impact it'll have on you. You'll be like, damn, it's a lot of times it's really hard to get the ball rolling, get it off, get the rocket off the ground. It's the hardest part, right? So it's like sometimes you just have to swing the bat and hope you hit the ball, and believe that the ball's coming and that your bat could make contact with it, and the mindset stuff is super important, right? Noticing the way you talk about yourself, like Daniel's been saying, constantly reaffirming your out loud if you need to, that you're worthy of love, that you love yourself, that you're worthy of your own love, that you can express love towards yourself. Always just trying to line that mindset, because that can be the tough part. That can really push you over the top.
All right, we gotta end though.
That's
Thanks
it.
so much,
Yeah, we gotta
guys.
get out of here, guys.
Peace.
As much as we gotta love ourselves. But if you love yourself, you'll subscribe. Was that manipulative?